Hello everyone, this is Mira Kalapan Agalot, and today I shall be discussing to you some of the subtopics found in Chapter 9, Employee Motivation. So we have a question here. Have the employees' values and wants been met? Well, our work motivation and work satisfaction are determined by the discrepancy between what we want, value, and expect what the job actually provides. So when we say work motivation, this refers to our willingness, to our desire, and to our drive to work properly and to perform our tasks, duties, or responsibilities effectively. While for work satisfaction, this refers to how content an employee is, how happy and approved he is with the things that he is receiving and experiencing in the work environment. And moving on to the term discrepancy, when we say discrepancy, this refers to the lack of compatibility or the difference or the mismatch between two things. So this phrase basically tells us that we would only know how if we are motivated or unmotivated or satisfied or unsatisfied if we would be able to see or spot the difference or the discrepancy between our job expectations, wants, and values, and the reality of the job that we have. And so for everyone to have a better understanding on the concept on the discrepancy between our job expectations or needs and wants and the reality of the job, I would like to encourage everyone to try to ponder. So as you can see on the presentation, there are two pictures. So in the first picture, you can see that there is a puzzle there. And that puzzle symbolizes or represents the employee's life. And as we all know, our lives are composed of different aspects. And those puzzle pieces that compose the entire puzzle represent our aspects or life aspects. And you can also see that there is a hollow space there which is intended for a yellow puzzle piece. And that hollow space there symbolizes or represents the employee's wants, expectations, and values. And that could refer to his want for flexibility, the need for high salary, and the value for honesty. However, instead of a yellow puzzle piece, a red puzzle piece is trying to occupy the hollow space there. And that red puzzle piece represents or symbolizes the reality of the job, which is that the reality of the job is that it is not flexible at all, and that it does not pay well, and of course it does not value honesty, because in that workplace corruption is very rampant. And furthermore, you can also see that the shape of the red puzzle piece does not coincide with the hollow space which is intended for the yellow puzzle piece. So that alone, that means that there is a discrepancy between the two. So that's a discrepancy. And moving on to the next picture, or to the second picture, you can see that the space there is still not yet occupied. And that, what do you call that? That person sitting on top of the puzzle symbolizes the employee. So as you can see, the person sitting there is somewhat frustrated, unmotivated, and unsatisfied, because there was a discrepancy between his job expectations and the reality of the job that he has. And as a result, his life became dull. So that's it. I hope you have understood the concept on the discrepancy between the job expectations, values, needs, and wants, and the reality of the job. So moving on, we have here job expectations. So if there is a discrepancy between the employee's job expectations and the reality of their jobs, then their motivation to work and satisfaction will be affected. So just like what I've said before. Additionally, employees will compare what the organization promised to do to them with what the organization really does. So if that happens, employees will also perform less, and it will just signify that they are really unmotivated and unsatisfied. So for example, a recruiter tells an applicant how much fun employees have at a particular company and about unlimited potential for advancement. After 3 months on the job, however, the employees has yet to experience the fun and can't find any signs of potential advancement opportunities. Because these expectations have not been met, the employee will probably feel unmotivated. So you can see on the picture that the employees are really unmotivated and unsatisfied, and they are not just having headaches, they are really unmotivated. So, however, employees being unmotivated and unsatisfied can be prevented if employers and companies would use the technique called Realistic Job Preview, or RJP. So RJP, or Realistic Job Preview, is a technique that presents job applicants with a realistic view of what they should expect from the organization. Thus, an organization must provide job applicants with all pertinent information without distortion. So when we say all pertinent information without distortion, these includes all the positive information and the negative information, or the cons of working in that company. So RJPs were created as an alternative to the seduction method of recruiting job candidates. So of course, if a company wants to grow further, to expand, that company should hire more manpower, and that company should need enough workforce. And with that, some companies would use the seduction method, wherein they would entice the job applicants of all the positive benefits or all the positive things that they will be receiving once they will be hired in that company. But in reality, it is totally opposite, since the job expectations or the job promises that the employers or the company had promised to their job applicants were not met or were not fulfilled. So realistic job previews were created to replace or to serve as an alternative to that seduction method. Further, since RJPs do not sugarcoat information, two simultaneous organizational goals are accomplished. First, job candidates can self-select out of a job offer that is not a good match for them because of a given accurate information. And second, organizations will have a more stable and satisfied workforce. So, we're done with the job expectations, and now we shall move on to job characteristics. So according to job characteristics theory, which was formulated by Richard Hackman and Greg Oldham, employees desire jobs that are meaningful, provide them with opportunity to be personally responsible for the outcome of their work or autonomy, and provide them with feedback of the results of their efforts. So in this theory, jobs will have motivation potential if they allow employees to use a variety of skills to connect their efforts to an outcome or task identification which has meaning, is useful, or is appreciated by co-workers as well by others in the society, or task significance. So we have a sample scenario here, so let's read the sample scenario. A job in which a factory worker stitches the company logo on shirts that were created by other workers, and in which the quality of the shirts and the logo stitching are evaluated by employees in a quality control department. Because the job does not involve a variety of skills or lacks skill variety, someone else checks the quality of their work, no feedback, or low task identification. Putting logos on a shirt is probably not appreciated by society, or low task significance, and the employee is closely supervised, or low autonomy. Thus, the job would be considered to have low motivation potential. So in relation to the sample scenario, so in a factory, there are a lot of workers, and those workers are divided or designated into the different areas or different departments in the factory. And a factory worker whose job is to stitch logos on the shirts can never have variety of skills because checking its quality is already beyond the scope of his job. And the quality control are the ones that are being assigned to check the quality. And with that, there is no feedback that's being given individually, because whenever the quality control department would see any defect or damage, they would just disregard it. And if ever they would be giving feedbacks would be addressed to the general population. So there's low task identification. And also, putting logos on shirt is probably not appreciated by society because we have this mindset that when we hear the word factory, it comes to our mind that the products in a factory are being processed by machines. However, we tend to overlook the fact that there are also factories that are utilizing manpower or people to manually process the products. So that's the hard truth of the job of a factory worker having low motivation potential. And moving on, we're done with the job characteristics, and now we shall move on to the needs, values, and wants. So discrepancy between an employee's needs, values, and wants and what a job offers can also lead to low levels of motivation and satisfaction. 3 theories focus on employees' needs, values. So there are 3 theories that are focusing on the employees' needs and values, and these are the following: Maslow's needs hierarchy, Erg theory, and 2-factor theory. So as you can see on the screen, there is a table there, table 9.2. This is a comparison of the Maslow, Erg, and Herzberg theories. So under the Maslow theory, there are the 5 major needs that one or an employee should meet. Starting with the basic level, which is the physical, safety, social, ego, and self-actualization. In the ERG, we have here the existence, relatedness, and growth. And lastly, for Herzberg theory, we have here hygiene factors and motivators. So in the Maslow's needs hierarchy theory, again, there are 5 major types of needs under the Maslow's needs hierarchy theory. So the first one is the basic biological needs. So basic biological needs, these pertains to our basic needs like food, shelter, clothing, electricity, and our other basic needs. So in order for us to meet these needs, we need to work. However, time will come that even if these needs are being met, even if we can eat 3 times a day, we have different clothing, we have a house to live in, even if these needs are being met, time will come that we will still feel unmotivated and unsatisfied because there are still other needs that we need to meet. And that leads us to the next major type of need, which is the safety needs, or which are the safety needs. Safety needs are very important needs that an employee should meet in order for him or her to feel motivated or to feel satisfied. Because even if, for example, you are working in a coal mine, and we are all aware that working in a coal mine is dangerous. So even if you can feed your family 3 times a day, you can give them shelter, you can give them clothing, but the fact that your life is at risk and anytime anything bad can happen to you, so that So that makes you feel that this job would not make me feel safe at all. And as a result, you would not feel motivated to work, and you would be unsatisfied because your safety is at risk. And it is very important that an employee is safe in his workplace or in her workplace. And later on, safety needs have been expanded into psychological safety and physical safety. So when we say psychological safety, this refers to job security. So a job that is secure can also make us feel safe. Because imagine, if you are working, if you have permanent job, and if you have permanent job, then it will somehow ease the anxiety being caused by financial problems, because you're aware that every month you would be getting salary, and that makes us feel safe. That makes an employee feel safe from being terminated. And after the safety needs, the other type of needs that an employee should meet in order for him to feel satisfied and motivated are the social needs. So when I say social needs, these are the needs pertaining to our need to socialize with other people, to communicate with other people, to interact with other people, and to relate with other people. And by meeting these needs, we can feel motivated and satisfied in a work environment. And also, when employees' social needs are being met, they would feel that they are loved, that they are special, and that they are being valued. And also, and that companies or employers can help their employees meet these social needs by allowing them or letting them to chit-chat or to socialize with their co-workers in the cafeterias or in the lounge, and also by holding parties or by having sports fest in whenever there would be an event in a company, or family picnics of the family members of the employees. So that's the social needs. Next one is the ego, or the ego needs. So when we say ego needs, these pertains to our need to be recognized and our need to be successful. So these ego needs can be fulfilled or can be met by recognizing or by appreciating the efforts and hard works of employees. And of course, if we are being recognized or being appreciated, we would also feel motivated and satisfied, because that signifies that our hard works and efforts are being valued. And the last type of need, and probably the most important type of need that employees should strive to meet, are the self-actualization needs. So self-actualization needs revolve on the concept of be all that you can be. Because for someone who strives to become the better version of himself or herself, meeting the 4 other types of needs is just enough. Because a person who wants to achieve or wants to have self-actualization needs would really do her best or his best to reach his potential in every task. And also, meeting these self-actualization needs is easy, especially for those people like policemen, teachers, militaries, and seamen, because they can be promoted, especially if they do their best in their job, and especially if they exert so much effort in their job. However, meeting self-actualization needs is hard for those people whose jobs are just constant. 24/7 they are doing, they are welding, they are selling street foods, so it is hard for them to meet these self-actualization needs. And however, even though most companies that we know today utilize the Maslow's needs hierarchy theory, there were still technical problems that were seen in that theory, and that will lead us to the evaluation of Maslow's theory. So although Maslow's needs theory makes good intuitive sense and has always been popular with managers and marketing analysts, it lost popularity with academicians in the 1970s before making a resurgence in the new millennium. So there were three technical problems that were seen in that theory. And the first one is that the first concern was that Maslow's 5 levels may be too many and that there are actually only 2 or 3 levels. So the second one, some people do not progress up the hierarchy as Maslow suggests they do. That is, most people move up from the basic biological needs level to safety needs to social needs and so on. So the second technical problem tells us that the Maslow's needs hierarchy theory does not happen all the time, because especially in the case of policemen and militaries, because their safety needs can never be satisfied. Can never be satisfied or can be fulfilled because their safety is not guaranteed due to the nature of their jobs, and they can, well, even if they can never be satisfied, their safety needs can never be satisfied, but they can skip that level. They can be their ego needs can be satisfied due to rewards and recognitions, and they can also achieve the self-actualization needs because they can also be promoted and they handle different situations and different people. So in that sense, they can really reach their potential in every task that they do. And the last technical problem is that the theory predicts that once the needs at one level are satisfied, the next needs level should become the most important. So those were the three technical problems that were seen in the Maslow's needs hierarchy theory. So next up, even though Maslow's theory has not been supported by research, it may still be useful. Of course, some of the theory's specific assertions may not be true, but it still provides guidelines that organizations can follow to increase motivation and satisfaction. So providing recognition, enrichment, and a safe workplace does increase employee motivation. The validity of this recommendation is probably why Maslow's theory still is widely used by human resources professionals, even though it is not popular with academicians and researchers who prefer more complicated models. So we have here a situation which some of the principles of Maslow's in his needs hierarchy theory can be applied. So let's read first the situation. So a situation at a major university provides an example of how Maslow's general principles can be used. After years of increasing enrollment and prestige, a scandal at the university caused a rapid decline in enrollment, financial backing, and staff morale. To fix these problems, a new president was hired. His first acts were to announce a Spirit Day each Friday, on which employees could dress casually, and increase emphasis on diversity issues, and his intention to start a new sports team. Employee satisfaction and motivation continued to drop. Faculty left in great numbers, and millions of dollars were cut from the budget. What went wrong? Among many things, the president's proposals were aimed at Maslow's level 3 and above, whereas employees' needs were at level 2. That is, will this university survive? And will I still have a job next year? So, as you can see in the situation, skipping those two basic levels is really hard, especially in an organization, and especially in the case of the sample situation, because the new president his first acts were to announce a Spirit Day, and if you can recall, the root of the problem, or the root of the negative happenings that happened in that university was a scandal. So allowing the students to wear whatever they want to, or allowing them to do whatever they want to do would make the situation even worse, because who knows what the students will do, who knows what the students will try, will wear. And we can never escape the fact that even if you are dressed in a conservative way, there are still other people who would lust over you. So that's basically a wrong move. That's basically the wrong move of the president to have a spirit day. So moving on to the next slide. So as you can see, there are 5 pictures on your screen, and these pictures are just proof that most of the companies that we know today are really applying Abraham Maslow's principles, especially his principles on his needs hierarchy theory. So in the first picture, you can see that this is Nescafe's way of recognizing their employees. So in this picture, you can see that the ego needs are being met. In the second picture, the company or our Deli Bread really values their employees because they have set an exclusive date for their employees to be vaccinated. The third picture, as you can, if it is not clear to you, I will just read. It is during the Altura Small Christmas party in 2019. So in this, the social needs of employees are being met, and also in the last 2 pictures, the fourth picture is the venue of a Christmas party, and the fifth picture shows the happy faces of employees under USSC. So there's my sister there. They went to Manila in the year 2008 to have their Christmas party. So USSC really values the social needs of their employees because they were having the Christmas party outside Bohol, and according to my sister, they were really having fun that night and they really enjoyed it, and they're also thankful to the company. Moving on, there is another theory, which is the ERG theory, which was formulated by Clayton Alderfer. So in ERG theory, there are only 3 major types of needs, and these are the existence needs, relatedness needs, and growth needs. So unlike the Maslow's needs hierarchy theory, there were 5, and here there are only 3. And the first two type of needs are being generalized into existence needs. The third and the fourth type of needs are being generalized into relatedness needs, while the fourth and the fifth type of needs are generalized into growth needs. So aside from the number of type of needs, the major difference between Maslow's theory and ERG theory is that Alderfer suggested that a person can skip levels. By allowing for such movement, Alderfer has removed one of the biggest problems with Maslow's theory. So in his theory, he states that a person can skip levels, and Maslow's principles can never be applied all the time due to the nature of the employee's job. So for example, if let's just use the previous example that I used previously a while ago. So in the case of those policemen and military, so their safety needs are not really guaranteed. So even if their safety needs can never be satisfied, because their safety is their life is at risk, they can still skip that level, and they can still achieve, or they can still have the ego needs and the self-actualization needs. So Alderfer's theory explains why a higher level need sometimes does not become more important once a lower level need has been satisfied. Alderfer believes that for jobs in many organizations, advancement to the next level is not possible because of such factors as company policy or nature of the job. So thus the path to the next level is blocked, and the employee becomes frustrated and places more importance on the previous level. Perhaps that is why some unions demand more money and benefits for their members rather than job enrichment. And the last theory which details on the which details I mean which details the job, the needs, the values of the employees, is Frederick Hertzberg's two-factor theory. So Herzberg, 1966, believed that job-related factors could be divided into two categories: hygiene factors and motivators. Thus, the name of the theory is two-factor theory. So when we say hygiene factors, these are the elements that that are not related. That are related with the job, but does not involve the job itself. So the hygiene factors that Frederick Herzberg's identified are pay, security, coworkers, working conditions, company policy, work schedules, and supervisors. So why can we say that pay is not is a hygiene factor? It is because pay is the result of your job, and it does not involve the job itself. So it is the result of your of the effort that you have exerted in your job. And on the other hand, there are motivators. So motivators are the elements that are job related with your job, and also includes the job itself. So these motivators are growth, challenge, responsibility, stimulation, variety, independence, achievement, control, and interesting work. So if your goal is to become a better person, if your goal is to have personal growth, that becomes your motivation to work well, to perform your tasks and duties effectively. And also, if you are interested in your work, then you will be more motivated and satisfied with your work. So that's why these elements are called motivators, because these include the work itself. And Herzberg believes that hygiene factors are necessary but not sufficient for job satisfaction and motivation. That is, if a hygiene factor is not present at an adequate level, example, the pay is too low, the employee will be dissatisfied and less motivated. But if all hygiene factors are represented adequately, the employee's level of satisfaction and motivation will only be neutral. Only the presence of both motivators and hygiene factors can bring job satisfaction and motivation. So in Herzberg theory, he clarifies that you can never be motivated or you can never be satisfied if only the hygiene factors are present and the motivators are absent. So both the hygiene factors and motivators must be present. They go hand in hand in order for an employee to really feel motivated and satisfied. So that's all for my report, and I hope you have learned something. And thank you so much for watching and listening. Bye.